now that Phase 1 of Marvel's cinematic universe is done, we can finally get into Phase 2! Kinda. Iron Man 3. And in case you're wondering what the head hitting was, I'll explain later in this review. So Iron Man 3 sees Tony Stark after the events of the Avengers, a very shaken up man. Because, let's face it, saving the world from a bunch of aliens and a power-hungry god/frost giant can get to you. Especially when you flew into a wormhole and almost lost your life, and then was caught by a big angry rage monster. But ever since then, Tony is feeling very insecure if he's not in his Iron Man suit. So he builds many new ones. His latest, the Mark 42. Yeah, he has 42 suits now. Wow. And as that's happening, a new threat is arising in America, named the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley. At the same time, Pepper Potts, once again played by Gwyneth Paltrow, is paid a visit by Aldrich Killian, played by Guy Pearce, who is developing a new technology called Extremis, where it enhances people's strength and abilities. It's kind of like the super soldier serum, but as the doctor would say, it's a bit more science-y Y&C. And also, Tony's pal Rhodey, once again played by Don Cheadle, is recruited by the government to protect the country from any imminent threats under the new persona of Iron Patriot, which is basically War Machine but with a new paint job. And when the fight against the Mandarin gets personal for Tony, he must call it upon himself to knock down the Mandarin's door and get revenge for an old friend. This movie, I really liked it. Like, the first, I'd say, hour or so, I loved it. I was thinking, oh man, this is almost as good as the Avengers. Almost as good. But, I mean, come on. Nothing's ever going to be topping that anytime soon. And if you've seen the movie by now, then you'll know there's a twist in, like, I'd say, the end of the second half that you may or may not like. I was okay with it. It's gonna split a whole lot of people, and from what I can tell, it already has. Me personally, as a comic book fan, I was okay with it, but I can understand why a lot of fellow comic book fans would be upset, and the whole head-hitting thing was representing, the big twist. Let's just say it ruins a very beloved character. But other than that, I mean, I don't have that many nitpicks other than, a few things with the story. There are a few plot holes every once in a while, but not that much, not as much as Iron Man 2. And after the big battle sequence, which was really cool, by the way, it rushes the ending. And I didn't think that was really necessary. And there's a scene at the end that kind of puts a little cap on the entire, so far, Iron Man trilogy that people may or may not think is okay. But seeing as if this might be his second to last performance as Tony Stark, and probably his last one will be in Avengers 2, they really wanted to wrap his arc as Tony Stark up, so I'm okay with it now. And unfortunately, there isn't that many connections to the Avengers other than referencing stuff in New York. Other than that, there's no references to, any of the other Avengers or S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything like that. This is basically a standalone movie, minus the post-credits scene, which I almost was disappointed in if it wasn't for a very welcome appearance by a fellow Avenger. Now, is this movie as good as the Avengers? No, I wouldn't say that. But it's still a very well-made film with great writing by Shane Black and Drew Pearson, really tight acting from all the leads, some really cool special effects and action sequences that'll definitely blow your mind, especially the last big battle scene. That scene was just amazing. So in closing, I give Iron Man 3 9 out of 11 doctors. So, for those who have seen Iron Man 3, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, along with, your thoughts on the twist that happens in the last few minutes of the second act. And if you like what you saw here, then feel free to press the like button, add this video to your favorites, and maybe even subscribe if you want. And stay tuned for my next review of the latest Doctor Who episode, The Crimson Aura, otherwise known as The Crimson Horror. So until next time, this is Marc Aquino saying